My name is J.A.Bwesigye. By natural inclination, I have a burning desire to see our sons and our children live in a country that is fair and just. That country where people are governed on the basis of the rule of law, strict adherence to the Constitution, respect for human rights, but above all, public policies that are enabling to the professionals, enabling to the business community, for that is the pillar for national transformation. Today, I want to look at the fairness of our tax system. Of recent, we have seen traders across the whole country. We've seen them in Mbale, we've seen them in Mbarara, we've seen them in Kigezi, we've seen them in the central, especially in Kampala, raise numerous concerns about the unfairness of our taxation regimes. We have seen them raise concerns over the administration of value-added tax, which is managed through a system known as IFRIS. We have seen quite a number of taxation policies being implemented by Uganda Revenue Authority that are largely discriminative. We have, as a country, a taxation policy, in fact, a regime that makes it impossible for the formal sector to make profits, while the informal sector is left to make abnormal profits, but also to mount unnecessary competition on the formal sector. Take an example. You see, we have agriculture. And when I talk about agriculture, I would specifically look at, for example, animal husbandry. A person who is, for example, in Busia, rearing his 20 animals, maybe cows, sheep, or goats, is running a business by hook or crook. This business is making profits. He's able to make returns at the end of the year, but unfortunately, the taxman is not going to tax this person. When we walk to the downtown here in Kampala, we have a young man in his 20s who has gone to school up to the university, graduated. His family spent a lot of money in educating him, and after that, this young man cannot find a job. He gets back into the village, sells a portion of his inheritance, comes to Kampala, runs a small business. He has around 20 phones and 3 computers. ULA quickly descends on this man who is selling 20 phones and 3 computers with an uncountable tax regimes. In the end, you find that this man or this young lady is unable to make proceeds and is pushed out of business. While those that are rearing cattle, some even stretch. You find an individual mentioning that I have 1,000 cattle. That the Speaker of Parliament recently reiterated this is the position she has always said, that she's rearing over 1,000 cattle. But there is no single tax that she's paying. Each of these cows is giving her milk. Milk is sold, and that's direct income tax. She's not required to file income tax. She's employed. She derives income directly from these animals. ULA doesn't recognize that. But a person who starts a small retail business as a tax levied by the local authorities, could be Mbara Municipal Council, it could be Gulu Municipal Council, it could be Soroti Municipal Council, it could also be Kampala Capital City Authority. These multiple taxes make it hard for the formal sector to flourish and later on steer up economic transformation. Because trust me, great economies do not flourish because of primary production. Economies have been able to transform on the basis of their ability to transform these primary goods, like the items that we obtain, raw coffee, raw cotton, and etc., from our gardens. And we run such policies that make it possible for the industrialists to come in and establish industries. These industries become employment hubs, become research hubs and innovation hubs, and at the end of the day, by multiplier effect, economies are transformed. This is how greater leaders, maybe to mention like Lee Kuan Yew and a host of other revolutionary leaders, were able to steer up their economies and finally brought them from low-income economies to middle and finally high-income economies. We must be concerned definitely that we run an unfair taxation system, a taxation system that makes it difficult for a section of the populace to run business, while we continue to let others go untaxed. By way of proposal, quite a number of things could be done. One, our parliament looks into, in fact, our taxation regimes with intent to reviewing them and ensuring that they are in strict adherence with the canons of a good tax. A good tax ought to be comprehensive that it taxes a greater majority, not targeting a few individuals. A good tax ought to be fair and just, that the burden it imposes on a given community is not prohibitive but enabling. When you're importing goods from China, the cardinal objective of a good tax policy or system should not be prohibiting you from procuring goods from China. It should be enabling you and encouraging you to buy more and more, so that as you bring in more items, then the taxman obtains a small proportion of what you buy, and you are encouraged to bring in more through that multiplier effect. The tax base is enhanced, but also greater revenue is realized on the part of the person who is paying tax in the first instance, and then the person collecting tax as a result of the widened tax base is also able to realize some reasonable proceeds from tax collections. In the subsequent broadcasts and records, I'll be looking at issues of accountability. We have collected taxes. Now what? Should we pick all these taxes and swindle them and then obtain international dates for purposes of domestic development? Is that the strategic thing that a country should do in its journey of development? But for now, I wish you all the best for God and my country.